baby. Oh, yeah. Woo! Welcome. Let's get the camera going. Whoa! What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Boys Crypto Show. Thank you for joining me here tonight. Everybody else out there doing the partying, the drinking, hitting the whip, nay, and we are here in the charts, getting ready for the weekend and the week ahead, looking to make some gains here going into the weekend. Currently, we're not in any positions, but we have been spanking this market, baby. Spanking this market. The last three trades we took were all shorts on Bitcoin. Got absolutely wrecked on this 150x leverage. That'd be a lesson to everybody about running high leverage trades. Woo! But the last two have been absolutely beautiful. We closed this one earlier today, this morning, just before I went to bed. I said, hey, I'm out here. I'm out. We posted that on Twitter for everybody on X, baby, and we did. I accidentally did a market sell. Paid a lot more fees. That's what happens when you do market sales, everybody. You always want to limit out and limit in, right? Very, very important. Let that be a lesson. We paid $44 fee for marketing out, right? When it should have been like 10, 12 bucks. So that's the penalty for doing market buys and market sells, right? Whenever you're trading on an exchange. But baby, we've been absolutely killing it. Look at this position history, man. We just been killing it. I'm so proud of each and every one of y'all. We just been absolutely milking this market for money, baby. If it was a cow, it would be, oh man, that udder would be swollen. We have been milking this market for gains lately. I appreciate each and every single one of you for being here and tagging along with me as we move through the weekend, baby. Here we are on the boobles, baby. A mixed day as Bitcoin has really just been trading in about a $1,000 range. Some of the altcoins getting some love, some of them getting absolutely smacked down, like Jasmine, where Pancake Swap, I haven't seen Pancake Swap in a long time. I know when Pancake Swap moves, though, it moves. It's kind of crazy. But we've seen a mixture in the altcoin markets here, the 1 through the 100, and even, 100 to 200, a big mixture here. Fartcoin, look at that, biggest bubble. I haven't seen that in a while, have we? But yeah, this has been an absolute crazy market this past day. There's been a lot of news this week. We had the Fed come out. We had jobless claims. We had all sorts of stuff. We had Trump speaking at the White House, Brad Garlinghouse, Michael Saylor, all that FUD, all that mess, and here we are trading at this same exact price as we've been ranging this entire week. We have been. Look at this on the daily for Bitcoin, baby. We're still doing the same thing we've been doing for the past 10 days, battling with this daily 200 MA. I don't like that we did close a full candle body underneath the daily 200 MA. Weekend or not, that is a weakness sign to me. It is imperative that Bitcoin does get back above this 200 MA, which is trending upward, by the way, at about 84,741, about $600 above where we are right now. We have a death cross coming up here on the daily time frame. Not something that we want to see. I want to shout out each and every single one of you guys in the chat before we go any further. Thank you for being here on your Friday night, baby. I know your time is precious. Thank you, Wanda, April, Michaela, PMG, Corey. What's going on, brother? What's going on? I'm not in any trades at the moment. Yeah, the ladies, what's going on? April, thank you for being here. I'm super excited that you guys are all here. I'm super excited that you guys are all here on your Friday night, baby, on your Friday night. So Bitcoin, baby, on the daily, currently trading beneath that 200-day moving average. You guys know here, I'm a bear on Bitcoin. I'm a bear on any asset that is trading underneath the daily 200 MA. With that being said, as we've talked about, we're not going to beat a dead horse, right? But we say this every day on the stream. We have this massive bullish divergence that has been forming not just on Bitcoin, but on a lot of altcoins that is stronger than any of the bullish. We haven't formed bullish divergence until this point since the dump from 110,000. This bullish divergence does suggest we're going to break this high, baby. We're going to break this high at about 95,000 before we break this low at 76. That does give me hope for a reversal here, for a bounce. However, we have to acknowledge that there has been insane selling pressure here on Bitcoin, and we are currently beneath this high volume node cluster. We have to acknowledge that once we get back up into this zone, even if the bullish divergence plays out, we need to be incredibly cautious resistance around this $96,000 to $97,000 zone, the zone where the bears did win out. There are definitely sell orders left up here. Whenever there's a high volume node, the reason I get bearish underneath it is because it shows you whether the bulls or the bears won, right? So if you fall below the high volume node and you start taking these areas of low liquidity and you drop, a lot of sell orders get left up here, and it will serve as a resistance point up here at about 96.5 to 97.5. That is going to be a tough area for Bitcoin to get over. Remember when we were here, we were so bored here. I hated this range. We were like, come on, Bitcoin, do something. We traded here for like 3 weeks, maybe. It was awful. Oh my gosh. And I was like, just move in some direction. And the crypto gods said, okay. And they dumped us to all hell right there. And that was not what we wanted to do. So that's what we're looking at here for Bitcoin. We're looking for this bullish divergence to play out. I don't foresee any movement over the weekend. I really don't. We're in an area of massive uncertainty right now. Trading around this key area, if we are to get a squeeze, I imagine that CME gap would get filled. The CME gap is currently going to be at about $84,000. So even if we pump up here or whatever, if we pump up to 90K, I do see us retracing to 84,000 before moving to the upside. Same thing with a dump. If we did get a dump down here, at least get pumping back up to this high volume node that is forming here since we've been forming this range. A lot of trading has been going on around this 200 MA. Look at that high volume node building right here. That is massive, right? It's exactly where we are. This is the highest volume node in this area of low liquidity. This is the highest volume node in this area of low liquidity. It's very important to pay attention to. That's what we're looking at for Bitcoin. Now, if we do get that drop to the downside, I have to say it, everybody. I have to say this. If we get this drop to the downside, our line in the sand is going to be $50,000 as far as maintaining a bullish structure. But our next likely area for a bounce is going to come at that 618-786 area for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin takes the plunge, so will altcoins, everybody. I'm doing a little preaching here. If Bitcoin falls, your favorite altcoin, everything 99.9999999% of altcoins, man, maybe that was a little bit of the cocaine in the monster right there, but 99% of altcoins will fall with Bitcoin. Historically, that has happened. Every single time Bitcoin has a drop, the altcoins drop. You could look here, right, on the monthly. Is Bitcoin down on the monthly? Yes. Are the altcoins down worse on the monthly? Yes, in general, of course, there's one twosies, right, in the 100, but you could go all the way back here, in the 100, 200, the mass will be red because Bitcoin is red. So it's just very important to keep your eye on Bitcoin whenever you're making these altcoin trades, whenever you're looking at altcoins, because Bitcoin is ultimately going to determine the bias for the market. Of course, things are going to underperform and overperform whenever it comes to Bitcoin, but in general, most of the coins that trade in the top 100 are paired to Bitcoin. They will move with Bitcoin. Whether that's stronger, Bitcoin pumps 1% and those altcoins pump 3%. Okay, Bitcoin dumps 1% and those altcoins dump 3 to 10%. Right? That's why Bitcoin dominance has been absolutely rocketing. But we have to keep that in mind whenever we're looking at Bitcoin, that this chart does affect our altcoin trades. So if we do get the dump here, right, trading below the daily 200, not a favorite sign of mine. That's not what I like to see. We could easily come down here to the 618 at 72,000 and 62,000 to 786. This is the most likely area, in my opinion, for a bounce. And I have this trader instinct, this feeling that we're gonna get here, at least to the 618. I really think we're gonna come down here. It just seems so highly likely to me. It's an area that we've retested before. The last time we traded in a range like this, like up here, the last time we traded in a range, we came down to that golden pocket area from the swing low to the swing high, where we bounce inside that golden pocket on the wick. As we could see here, we're zooming on in the last range that we had, that we traded in for 6 months. We came down to the golden pocket, 618 bounce, and boom, to the upside. That's exactly what I think is going to happen for Bitcoin, and I think it'll look just like this. I think we'll be there for less than a day, maybe even less than 2 to 3 hours. We could get a massive capitulation dump down into this golden pocket, which will be your last opportunity, in my opinion, to accumulate some juicy Bitcoin at these juicy prices. And if you scoop altcoins in down here on a wick like this, you will get some of the greatest entries, possibly some of the greatest entries of the entire bull run. Imagine getting here on a 618, 786 and us reversing like we did down here. That would be a monumental. You come down here, you range range for a little bit, come up 618 and boom. And you can say, wow, I got in on that bounce, baby. The high volume node is there to support it. We talk about it all the time. The VRVP, look at this giant thigh gap in the VRVP, everybody. If this was a lady, she'd stand up on her hands. That thigh gap would look like a field goal post so you could kick a truck through, baby. Woo! Kick a truck through. That can definitely happen, supported by this gap in the VRVP. We have our ball. We fell off the hill and we are currently rolling down the hill onto the next trough. That trough doesn't start picking up till around that $72,000 in confluence with that 618. Very important to keep your eyes on when it comes to Bitcoin. Now, is it all doom and gloom? No, absolutely not. Like I said, we have this massive bullish divergence forming here on the daily that can save us and get us out of here. I am kind of sitting on my hands right now. I'm not going to be doing a ton of trading this weekend. I'm going to see how it plays out. Once we get above that 200 MA, I am going to flip more bullish bias. But right now, I'm leaning very slightly bearish. I'm leaning slightly bearish. Why? We're in that gap in the VRVP. We're below the daily 200 MA. Although we have that strong bullish divergence that I believe can kick us out. And if we get above that 200 MA, I will be looking for longs. We're in no man's land right now. We're in a danger zone. The amount of price history we have here is less than 2 weeks of time. Less than 2 weeks of time, and a lot of that time we're weekend, right? Saturday, Sunday. We had how many Saturdays? Saturday, Sunday. We're approaching a Saturday, Sunday. So half that time will have been weekends, right? So that's what we're looking at for price history in this zone, and that's why we have so little volume here in the VRVP. So I'm going to be taking it a little slow this weekend and looking for the hottest setups. Of course, I'm going to scalp. Keep an eye on my X at VoiceCrypto102 to follow all of my trades and everything that I do in the market, baby. This has been an immaculate channel where we have doubled an account in about 45 days. We started this account with about $5,000. The $5,000 will move this here, and we're currently sitting at $9,500 in this account, baby. Doing it all live here in front of you guys. Every single play that we've made on this account has been posted on Twitter the moment that we make it, with the exception of those that we make on the live stream that get posted right after the live stream. And man, we've just been absolutely cooking. Shout out to each and every one of you that have been in the gains with us here. Man, big wins, small losses. Big wins, small losses, baby. We've been absolutely cooking on this market, and I appreciate each and every one of you being here with me and doing that with me. Did I move my camera? Oh, yeah. I could move this around. Sometimes I forget, and I'll leave it up here. Yeah, not good, right? OBS is a super cool streaming platform. Okay, here we go. Diving on in. Drop your altcoins. Drop your questions in the chat. I'd be super excited to hear from each and every one of you. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? What are the coins that you're investing in? Did you just buy some? Did you just sell your bag? What coins do you like? What do you want to see tonight, guys? I'm here for you. This is Friday night, baby. A little more casual. We're in a little bit of a t-shirt right now, showing off the guns, baby. Showing off the guns. I know you, PMG Corey. Thank you for shouting out the monster, baby. Oh, baby, yeah. Getting those gains. Wow, I definitely got lightheaded there. Woo! I'm not ADD, I promise, guys. I'm not ADD, I promise. Get a sip of the monster and let's dive into this. All right. Whoo! Okay, everybody, diving on into the chat. Shout out to each and every single one of you for being here. Lily, what's going on? PMG Corey, Sin Nasty Kid, thanks for being here. Hey, PMG fam, we're streaming. We are streaming on our new channel, Crypto Profit Brothers, baby. Crypto Profit Brothers on Sunday. We are beginning our stream with PMG, Project Moon Gold Crypto. We will be doing that on Sunday. Our first stream at 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stick into that. We have a whole guide set up. We're going to be coming out. We're going after banter, baby. We're going after crypto banter, all that hopium, all that hype. We are going to bring truth to the community. That's what I'm aiming for. Not promoting any projects or anything like that. None of that. Just straight trading. And we're gonna get into it. And we're gonna collab on some stuff. And he likes my trading style. I'm enjoying what he's doing on his channel. And we're gonna team up. And we're gonna make something big happen. I'm super excited. So stand by for that. That's gonna be super awesome. I'll keep you guys up to date with that on X. But we'll be streaming together. I'm super excited that bring that energy, baby. So bring that energy. I think we're gonna work really, really well together. So I'm excited to do that. Stand by for that, guys. Stand by for that. PMG Corey, thanks for jumping on into the chat, man. Sin Nasty Kid, Michaela, Sin Nasty Kid, Auction crushing it. Yeah, man, this this coin, what? It does not want to stop. Auction, baby, auction. First altcoin diving on in for Sin Nasty Kid. Hey, thank you for dropping on into the chat, man. Look at that, baby. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Look at this weekly candle. Look at that giant green dildo. Shout out to the ladies who like those big giant green dildos, baby. All right, here we go. And Sin Nasty Kid. All right, here we go. Across the daily 200, baby, and booming to the upside. I just released a video about the power of the daily 200. This ran without me. It did. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I was waiting for some kind of flag, some kind of flaggeroonie where I would have had an opportunity to get in. Did we get that? No. This thing kept booming to the upside. What a monumental move for Bounce Token Auction. 483%. That's not. Let's see. From the bottom, this went up to a high in just over 2 weeks, 4.5x without leverage. This is one of the fastest running coins I've honestly ever seen. This is a monumental move for Bounce Token. I don't know there has to be some kind of news, some kind of catalyst. This is absolutely wild for this asset. Wow, what a move to the upside. And we can zoom out here on the weekly and see what kind of levels you're playing with. Now you're playing with, you may be playing with areas that you could start testing all-time highs here for Bounce, especially if you keep going on moon missions like this. So yeah, you did come up to the prior high, almost exactly to the highs where these wicks were sold, okay? So that's what I'm looking at for Bounce. I want to see a little bit more of a push. Why do I want to see a little bit more of a push? Because I want to avoid this bearish divergence on the weekly. I want to avoid this. I really do. Why do I want to avoid that bearish divergence? This could be the thing that stops these runs in their track. Whenever you have bearish momentum building amongst bullish buying pressure, you'll get that swing up on the price action, right? Which would come to the wick of the candle body close, which does not close for another day and 22 hours, right? Another 48 hours on this candle for the weekly. I want to avoid any kind of weekly bearish divergence. That just signals weakness to me, right, in the near term. And honestly, how many times whenever you're looking at charts, you got to acknowledge that this is up 465% in weeks. For anybody in auction, I highly recommend taking at least a little profit. You could take off 25% of your position and de-risk yourself completely and just have a bunch of auction tokens and the money you put in return back to you. Wow, what a monumental move for Bounce, for auction. Shout out to anybody who is in this coin. I know some people in the chat were in this coin, getting in at the lows. Wow, what a move for you guys. Congratulations. That has been honestly, I think that's the best performer. Let's see what it's looking like on the boobles, baby. Let's see what it's looking like on the boobles. Bounce, baby, rank 147. I'll bet that's been climbing, rocketing, increased in rank this month. 200, it outpaced and took over the position of 273 cryptos in the market, reaching up to that 147. It wouldn't take a lot more for this thing to creep into the top 10, baby. It would not. Shout out to everybody who's holding Bounce. This thing is on a tear, baby, on a tear. If you're interested in trading Bounce, the only way I see you having an opportunity to trade this would be to zoom in on the smaller time frames and look for flags. Look for flags, breakouts. Look for flags, double bottoms, breakouts. That's what I would do if I was looking at auction. That would be the only way that I could possibly trade it. But I'm going to stay away from this thing. Why? Because the way you don't often get 463% gains in 2 weeks and not have some kind of a pullback. So what would I be looking for here? Where would I be interested in auction? Well, I'll take the swing high to the swing low, right? And if this is going to continue a healthy retracement will be back down here to $30. It just is what the charts are saying, right? We did have a little bit of a blow off top here. That's what we were talking about on the channel here just 2 days ago, yesterday. And we said, hey, likely this thing's going to end in with a big wick to the upside and a sell to the downside. Now, you do have some buying pressure today, which just started about 3 hours ago here. We can see that on the 15-minute. We did get that a little bit of a reversal. But that's what I'm looking at for a Bounce token, baby. You're holding a 15-minute 200 MA. That looks strong. I'm going to stay away from this with leverage. Not financial advice, but I'm just going to stay away from it with leverage. It's just a little overextended for me. But regardless, this thing has been on a massive tear. If you were going to get in on this coin, the ideal entry would have been that crack of the daily 200 MA. You closed the candle, you got in, put a stop loss below the low, And man, that's trading 101, baby. That's trading 101. Put a stop loss below the recent low, and you can ride that 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1. You can ride that 5 to 1, 6 to 1, 7 to 1, 8 to 1. Trade played out in just 2 weeks. What a monumental move for auction. Congratulations to anybody who is in there. Hey, BMG Corey, you want to look at Fartcoin, brother? We'll dive into Fartcoin. Bounce back up. Yes, Student One Limitless Cash. Hey, what's going on, man? I appreciate you jumping on in. Yeah, this is on a massive tear. Looking at the 4-hour, wow, look at that tweezer tops. You could get some more out of that. You did come back to the 4-hour 21. Look how that supported you the entire way up. Once, twice, 3 times, almost with the wick right there. Could you go further? Absolutely, but it'll ride without me. I just don't see. It's very overextended, and maybe you do get another push up, but I don't see this run. You could even get another double up. It's just the risk to reward for me right here is just not worth it to get in on this coin, in my opinion, at these prices. If you wanted to get in, the ideal scenario would have been getting in whenever you cross the daily 200 MA or you bounce from the daily 200 MA. Here is not where you want to be averaging in. Say you did come back down to a 618-786, you're looking at a massive retrace from the swing low to the high. Look, this is where people get absolutely wrecked when they chase green candles. Just because, I'm talking to people who are not in a position right now. I'm like, oh, should I get in a bounce token? It's mooning. I don't want to fear of missing out. If you come back down here to 618 or 786, this represents a massive, not just from the high, but from where you are, at 35% to the 618 and 52% to the 786. The risk there is so high, and this is likely to happen. This is just on my radar. It's likely to happen. So I want to be diving in this spot right here when you'll be paying 5 times as much what somebody did pay in to get in down here. So what they bought for $10 in this token down here is worth, 5 of the tokens you'd buy up here. It'd be a massive risk. Again, not financial advice, just what I'm seeing and I see some kind of pullback, retracement, some kind of consolidation. At the rate this has gone up, it's absolutely crazy. You don't see this often. But if you backtrack to a similar scenario, right? How does this not look like this right here? Right, you have a massive run up to the upside. It looks almost identical as this last run up to a bounce, right? And I'm not saying that it's going to pull back massively like this. It could continue to move to the upside. This is crypto, baby. Anything could happen. But yes, look what happens whenever you do top out, and eventually there will be a top out. The corrections are quite nasty. 60% to the downside in just 2-3 weeks, just like you had this run up. And then anybody who was caught up here in longs or spot positions starts freaking out like, oh, it's going up to the moon. Oh my gosh. Wait, and you dumped to the downside. You had a bear flag and it dumped. Yeah, the risk is a little high for me to get in right here, but congratulations to those who were in the bounce token. We're gonna dive on over into Fartcoin, baby. BMG Corey trying to troll me, man. Fartcoin, everybody knows I love Fartcoin. Fartcoin, the new Bitcoin, baby. This thing's gonna replace Bitcoin. This thing's gonna come up and absolutely wreck Bitcoin in market cap. It's gonna move to a $5 to $10 trillion market. I'm just kidding. There's no way, right? I know there's tons of stuff out on the internet and whatnot, but Fartcoin, I was talking a couple months ago when Fartcoin was just, I had a theory. I was like, no matter how many hours of research I do, I'll sit down and I'll try to get into the best spot positions, the best leverage plays. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, what if I do all this? And I would have been better off just putting my money in Fartcoin. And the people in Fartcoin just have mansions and everything, and they're like, son, why are we eating lobster? Father, why are we eating lobster and steak and all these delicious crab stuffed ravioli? And I invested in Fartcoin, son. I invested in the better Bitcoin, son, when it was really early. What was it, Dad? It was Fartcoin. Yeah, I was just imagining scenarios like that. I was like, man, what if I get trolled like that? Fartcoin, 4 PMG Corey, thanks for dropping on into the chat, man. Let's dive on into it. We got it on the daily, making a little bit of a rounded Batumi here. We got to zoom in a little though to see what we're working with. So you did get that cross, the 21 cross and the 200 on the 4-hour, right? That is true. You are forming right now a little bearish divergence, right? You have a swing across on the RSI while you have a swing up in price. So you're making a higher high on price with an equal high here on the RSI. That is bearish divergence, Class B bearish divergence here on the chart. That's what I'm seeing right here, saying that you're likely to break this low here, this low at about 33.82 before you break this high at about 43.82. So that does look like there could be a little bit of at least consolidation here, and optimistically for Altcoin, or a deeper retracement coming back down to test this 4-hour 200 SMA. So where would I look at for if this bearish divergence did play out? Well, I take my swing low to swing high, and I'd look for this golden pocket. Why am I looking for this golden pocket? Well, it would allow a couple of things. This bearish divergence to play out. It matches up with the high volume node, the 786, and the 4-hour 200 SMA retest, baby. That looks good to me. That looks good to me. If I was in a short right now, I would feel really good on Altcoin. I really would. These memes are going to get beaten down whenever Bitcoin struggles. These memes, I believe that memes are going to get absolutely kicked in the nutsack this upcoming bull run. I don't see that rotation. I'm against some of the hottest crypto traders in the game. Da Vinci J15, I really can't stand how he's promoting meme coins and shilling meme coins to people that have been getting absolutely rug pulled. Be careful on meme coins. Be careful. Be careful. How many meme coins have gotten absolutely rug pulled, including Trump, including Melania, including Fartcoin, including Chill Guy, including all the ones that you've seen on your Instagram and X pages? Be careful when it comes to memes. I don't blame you, BMG Corey, for being in a short position, man. This looks like a good setup here. You have the bearish divergence, right? The 4 hours coming up to the overbought region. You have a 786 4-hour 200 SMA that could potentially serve as a bounce zone. That's where I would be looking for a long, but going on a short here, on a scalp short, is not a bad idea with a stop below above that wick, and you can take that 2 to 1, can't you? You can take that all the way to 2.5 to 1. That looks like a good short position to me, catching that reversal to the downside for Fartcoin, and you're coming back down to that high volume node. That's an area of high interest. That's an area of very, very high interest. I'm going to leave this here, just an idea. I'm not in this trade. I am going to publicly say that, but I'll take that all the way down to the 786. 2.83 to 1 looks really, really juicy. I'm going to leave that here and see how this plays out. This is going to be my target area for a reversal for Fartcoin, and altcoins often do come down to the 886. You could see that as well, but I'd be taking profits even. Let's back this up here. I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna make it just above the 786. I want to front run it right before everybody starts taking profits and everybody starts exiting out of their positions. All right, baby, that's what I'm looking at for Fartcoin, baby. You got the bearish divergence, the reversal. You know, the bearish divergence reversal coming down to the golden pocket 618, 786 out of this push to the upside. I do see that as very, very likely matches up with the high volume node at a 4-hour 200 SMA, baby, likely to get a retest. Shout out to everybody that just jumped on in the game, baby. We are getting ready for the week ahead, the weekend. We're looking at price action. Bitcoin kind of just hanging out in no man's land right now. We're diving on into some altcoins. If you guys have altcoins you want to look over, drop them on in the chat, baby. I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear from you. Bringing energy to crypto, and we're looking for the hottest setups in the game. Let's dive on in. We looked at Fartcoin, BMG Corey. Thanks for dropping on that in. Welcome reviews. I'm glad to see you here, man. Bounced up hard, yeah. Lark Davis loves Fartcoin. Yep, as always, over the top, exceptional TA. Thanks. Hey, man, I appreciate you saying that. I really do. I really do try to give the most non-biased, most technical TA possible, right? And that's that TA has led us to making absolutely juicy gains here over on Blowfin. And doubling up this account for you guys. We're almost done with our $10,000 trading challenge. Once we get to $10,000, we're just going to keep rolling, baby. We're going to take 10,000 to 20, then 20 to 40, 40 to 80, 80 to 160. We're going to do this all in front of everybody live, and we're going to look back and be like, wow, look where you guys are some of the first supporters of this channel. This is going to turn into something huge, and we're going to go down as one of the most legendary traders. This is my vision, to go down as one of the most legendary traders on YouTube, not just having positions like, oh my gosh, look at that, but have a backlog on X, which will eventually transition over into our Discord, and we can see exactly how we did it, trade by trade by trade by trade. There's not a lot of people that'll show you their position history. A lot of people will be like, oh, look at that, wow, look at these gains I made, but then they'll have red in their position history because it took a couple shots to get that trade right. We'll show you the wins, we'll show you the losses here. This channel is all about transparency, and I want to be here with you guys and show show you guys that anybody can do this. You can take control of your life with trading. It is so powerful. This tool, this knowledge, they won't teach it in school. This is so powerful, and you can make so much money doing this. And we're not using exuberant amounts of cash. You could scale this however you want. We did 5,000 and 10,000. You could have done 50 to 100 or 5 to 10. The principle remains the same. Being able to make percentage gains on top of whatever you're putting in, and realizing, wow, I've learned a skill that can make me money on my own, where you don't have to rely on anyone else to pay your bills. You can rely on yourself, and boy, that's freedom, baby. That's the American dream to me. I love this game. I love what I do, and I appreciate each and every one of you and your support. All right, so that's Altcoin. Let's dive on over into Ethereum. Let's take a little look, baby. Let's take a little look. All right, Orca, wild. Hey, yeah, Orca. We will dive on into Orca. Hey, you know what? I'll take a look at Orca before we dive into the ETH. Orca, baby. This, whoa, look at that. Oh my goodness. What happened to Orca? Let's pull this up on the one. What happened? Was there some news, man? There had to be some news or something. You don't just get these kind of pumps out of nowhere. You don't just randomly in 4 hours start double up on something. Like, that's wild. Look at this moonshot of a wow, did this happen in a minute? It did. It did. Look at this. You know what this reminds me of? The Weeks token. When the Weeks token doubled on a billionaire's investment in a singular minute, it pumped. It pumped like it was like 3 minutes, and Weeks token doubled up in value. Look at that. This is a 60-second candle. This is a 60-second candle for Orca. And you know, you could have gotten a trade and, you know, went pee real quick, come back and be like, what happened? Yeah, no, this was a news event. So there was no TA catching that. You were below your 200 MA, weren't you? You're below your 200 MA, and you could be like, oh, we got above the 200 MA, we could long, and you know, it would have worked out. But goodness gracious, what a pump for Orca. What kind of news? That had to have been some kind of news, man. If you were long on that, I don't want to say it like this, but you were lucky, baby. You were lucky. Look at that. Does a 21 ever act like that? Look at this on the daily. Look at that. You got the 21 curving up that violently. Good night for Orca. What a moonshot, baby. What a moonshot. Let's pull our fibs. See where we came up here from swing high to swing low. Yeah, you did come up into the golden pocket, retrace. Okay, you got stopped at that high volume node that had built here over the course of time, and maybe even built today. I would need to do a little more digging to see what is in this high volume node here when this was created. But yeah, that does look like a little bit of a bearish retracemento. Now, I will say that's a massive candle. Whenever you see a massive candle like that, odds are you're going to get some kind of retracement and then a push to the upside. What I do like, whenever you get a massive candle like this does set up the perfect opportunity for the cup and the handle. This does set up the perfect opportunity for cup and handle patterns, right? On any time frame. So what I would do is take the swing low to the swing high. And where would I be interested in getting into Orca? Well, after a move like that, it's likely to retrace. And if it continues to run, this is the thing about being a good trader, baby. If it continues to run, let it run, baby. Let it run without you. You don't ever feel like you need to be forced into a trade. I think every day this week we've had a trade open on Blowfin. Let's see, we've had a trade open the 20th, 19th, 18th, 16th, 17th, 17th, 16th, 13th, 15th, the 14th. We've had a trade open on Blowfin every single day except for today. Well, it was today. Yeah, except for today. You know, we closed one today, but we didn't open up a trade today. This was the first day in over a week that we didn't have a trade open, baby. Why don't I have a trade open? It's Friday. There's no liquidity in the market right now. We had the U.S. markets closed. Everything's relaxed right now in terms of liquidity, so the whales can play their game, baby. I'm not about to get orca'd like the whales here. I'm not about to get wrecked right here. But what I am looking for is a hot setup. A hot setup to me would be an ideal entry at the golden pocket 618-786 area where that cup and handle can form. Upon that bounce, upon this retracement, we start getting some sideways consolidation. We have a little bit of a dump and we get into this zone. That would be where I'd be looking to long this baby to the upside to at least retest that high volume node. These are areas where you can capitalize on high leverage if you guys are into that kind of risk. So what would my trade plan be? Well, you could set trades like this. You could either set it at the 618 and put a stop. I've seen both kind of scenarios depending on your risk appetite, right? So you could go 2-to-1 right here all the way up just above the high volume node if you got in at the 618 right here on the cup and handle retrace. So these are just trade ideas, everybody. The 618, the cup and handle retrace to the 618, get in at 618, and then look for a bounce right there. Or what you could do if you want a higher leverage position is take the more conservative route with a tighter stop loss right here at the 786 and then go back for that high volume node. Notice how that risk reward ratio goes from a 2-to-1 to a 12, almost 13-to-1 risk reward ratio. How many of those trades do you need to win in order to be profitable? 1 out of 13 to break even, 2 out of 13 to be a mind-blowingly profitable trader. You could win 20% of your trades and be a mind-blowing awesome trader. That's how these that's why risk management and risk reward ratios are everything, right? And I know that this would be a key area to get in because it is a mathematically proven area for assets to retrace to before continuing to the upside. Now, I don't know what kind of news this is. I don't know even if there was news. Maybe there wasn't news. But what I am saying is that if it runs without me. Where would I be looking to get in? Right here at the 618, 786. That's where I would be looking to get in on this juicy asset, Orca. And I know nothing about it. I know absolutely zero about Orca, baby. And that's just what the charts are telling me. That's what the charts are telling me. All right, baby. Diving on in. 99% everything else is downs. Yeah, shorts. This is what happens. And you know, hey, thank you for bringing that up. Shorts got wrecked. Yes. This is the danger of shorting after a lot of these coins have gotten massively destroyed over the past 3 months. When the market turns around, and I believe it will, when the market turns around, there's going to be so many shorts and so much liquidity above you that it will not take much for candles like this to get extrapolated. It won't take much for candles to start moving to the upside. Why? Because when a short closes, when you get liquidated on a short or a short stop loss is triggered, that triggers a buy order. It triggers a buy order to the upside because the exchange will buy the funds in order to push the price up further based off your short getting stopped or liquidated. That's why when there's a lot of shorts above you, you could potentially get what's called a short squeeze, where the price squeezes massively to the upside because it triggers stop loss, liquidation, stop loss, and the price will continue to run because it's the same exact thing as if people were smashing the buy button. That's what's beautiful about a lot of shorts being built up above you, and that's why Bitcoin can potentially get a massive squeeze up to 95,000 out of that bullish divergence because there's a lot of shorts that are opened up above us. It's very, very true. There's a lot of bearishness in the space. The fear is at a mass, and there's a lot of shorts opened up in the space right now. That squeeze to the upside can happen very, very fast because all those buy orders will get triggered. All right, diving on in. Shorts. That's the danger of shorting right now. And here, you could have felt so good. Imagine how good you felt on your short. If you even held it, you could have held this short all month and been profiting, baby. Wake up today, and you were absolutely liquidated or stopped down. You'd be like, what? What happened? Yeah, that's the danger of getting a short squeeze. That's the danger of chasing these red candles. So instead, while a lot of people are looking for shorts here, we're looking for long opportunities. This is exactly how we found the long on virtuals, the biggest trade of this portfolio. We found the long on virtuals off the daily bullish divergence. You did also have daily bullish divergence here on Orca. If you do zoom on in here, you can see that daily bullish divergence here. Whoop! Let's get this zoomed out here. You had this daily bullish divergence. You have a swing down on price action here, while you have a swing up on the RSI. Upon that curvature right here, it would have been very, very valid to get in along with a stop below the wick, and you would have absolutely crushed this trade. Daily bullish divergence is something I will never stare in the face and go against. It's just asking to get wrecked, baby. It's just asking to get wrecked, and I'm not looking to do that. It's just something I've learned over time. I know I've gotten wrecked enough by daily bullish divergence when I was starting trading that I realized I'm like, I'll never trade against it anymore. It's lessons learned, and that's why I'm so happy to bring these lessons to you guys so you don't have to make the same mistakes I did when I was in the Navy just trying to understand what trading was. It was absolutely crazy. It was absolutely crazy. This 6 years ago I started doing this, baby. 6 years ago I started getting into this space. It's crazy how time flies. Okay, diving on in. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at for Orca, baby. Drop your coins, drop your questions in in the chat. All right, diving on into Ethereum. Something about Ethereum that is very, very interesting. This asset has some of the biggest short squeeze potential, I think, in the game. Ethereum looking very weak. You have institutions and companies buying this asset like crazy. I think Donald Trump owns about, what, $500 billion worth of Ethereum right now in the World Liberty Financial Wallet. This daily bullish divergence here, this could have been the bottom. It could have been the bottom here for Ethereum, saying that you're going to break this high at 2550. Yes, 2550 before you break this 1758 region. That also does look like, even if you took a long right here on Ethereum with a stop below the low right here, you could get a very, very juicy trade going from 1745 all the way up to, yeah, 2551. And you know what? That bullish divergence looks so good. Let me zoom on in here. Getting up to the 5 minute. Yeah, we speculated on this flag the other day. Boom to the upside. Would have hit the target. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, looks very, very good for Ethereum. On the smaller time frames, it is what it is. But when in doubt, you have to zoom out. What do we talk about all the time here? And you just pull your fib over and over and over again. From swing low to swing high. Boom, boom, boom for Ethereum. Down into the golden pocket. Got the retest of the 1 hour 200 SMA. And boom to the upside, baby. It looks good for Ethereum here. I like Ethereum where it is. I'm not sure we're going to get that drop. Everybody's talking. When everyone's talking about, oh, we're dropping to 1600. Oh, my gosh. Now, we did have limit orders down here. I did cancel all my limit orders, everybody. I will be transparent that I did cancel all of my limit orders because I was going in and out of trades, and you can't have a limit order open on leverage and trade that asset at the same time at a different leverage, right? So I did have to cancel my limit orders, but here we are on the daily. You know what? And I'm not doing this to prove a point. I'm doing this based off of indicators that I'm seeing that look very, very juicy. We are a little overbought here on the stochastics. I honestly don't give a lot of validity to that right now. This can easily curve up and get pinned like we did back here. I could see that very, very easily happening for Ethereum. Look at this. Even as you were overbought, you continued to pump here. I like what I'm looking at here for Ethereum. I have to, it's the weekend. You guys know I never trade on the weekends, but this trade looks really, really juicy. At 2.5 to 1. That risk reward ratio looks good to me. We got to stop down here to, let's take that a little lower to 17. I'll put my stop at 1750. Trade time, baby. Trade time. I'm going to enter a trade here. I have to. Why am I entering this trade here? Well, here's what I'm looking at. Let's zoom on out. We have daily bullish divergence. Mega negative sentiment in the space. Now, if we get the dump, we get the dump. We are above this high volume node, the highest volume node on the chart for Ethereum right now, with the exception of that $1,600 level. I'm going to put my stop below this low. If we break that low, we're going to gap down to about $1,600, and that is what it is. But I like this. Look at this giant gap in the VRVP to support me. This is how we trade every single day here on this channel. Let's pull up Ethereum on Blowfin, baby. Ethereum. And again, this is not financial advice, but this is a trade that I'm going to hold open. I'll hold open for the week. Let's see how it goes. And this may be it, everybody. This may be the trade. This trade would complete our challenge, our $5,000 to $10,000 account challenge. This will do it. This trade is for the $5,000 to $10,000 account challenge, a 2.5 to 1. So I'm gonna have to, let's see, 2550 is our target with stop loss at 1750, right? I'm gonna do 1748, and that gives me on 14x. No, that'll put me below liquidation. You see here. Gotta focus up. Gotta zoom on in. Gotta focus. Focus on these trades, baby. All right, here we go. Opening up a trade live for you guys. I'll go. I'm gonna go 392 for 1,000. Or I'll go. Woo. That's 682. I'm going to go 280 for 680. That looks really, really good to me on the daily bullish divergence, and we are in there like swimwear, baby. In there like swimwear. I'm using lower leverage, utilizing lower leverage and using a larger amount of your capital. What does it do? It allows you to pay less fees on the asset. I'm a big fan of less fees, baby. Big fan of less fees. Ethereum. We are long on Ethereum on this trade. We had the daily bullish divergence. We're going on that, playing out here up to 2550, a stop below the recent wick, calling the bottom for Ethereum. How many times have we called the bottom bottom on this channel, and we got the massive reversal to the upside. We are in there like swimwear, baby. In there like swimwear on Ethereum. We are going based off this daily bullish divergence, being above a high volume node on the VRVP that we're going to use as our shield, playing 200 MA dominoes. We had the daily bullish divergence. We had this giant gap in the VRVP. Woo! Woo! You guys ever get so passionate about the trade that you feel it in your what is this, the aorta? The artery? Woo! Oh yeah, we're in there like swimwear on Ethereum, baby. We're in there like swimwear, already in the green, 13 cents, baby. We are on the way to the upside. That will complete our $5,000 to $10,000 account challenge. Calling the reversal here for Ethereum. It looks good to me. It looks good to me. I think Ethereum's undervalued. You're back in this range. You're coming down to a key area. That's a support resistance flip right there. I do say so. Look at this. We zoom on in here. Perfect resistance, resistance, resistance. We got above support. Come back down. It was served as support again. Looks good to me. Looks good to me. To the upside for Ethereum. I am long on Ethereum, baby. In front of you guys. We will post that on X after the stream. Shout out to each and every one of you diving on in and taking these trades with us. We are getting absolutely juicy gains out of this market, baby. Absolutely. Look at that. Oh, we're down $1. But yeah, position, man, we have been absolutely cooking on this. I just can't get over it. I'm just so happy that each and every one of you guys have given me a chance here. A lot of you guys came from some of the bigger YouTubers and whatnot, and that just have been here with me, and I just can't say thank you enough. Thank you for being here and supporting me, man. It means the whole world, and I'll never forget you guys. I'll always call you guys out in the chat. I'm always gonna be here for you guys. You guys email me anytime you guys want to. You've got a chat, whatever. You got questions, anything. I'm always available to you guys. All right, diving on in. Toshi taking an ass kicking right now, struggling for those green candles. Josh Parks, what's going on, man? Hey, welcome. Yeah, we got Toshi. Let's dive on into Toshi. Toshi, baby. We're long on Ethereum, baby. Long on Ethereum. Trade open live on the live. Yeah, Toshi getting absolutely bent over the barrel and shown the 50 states. Shout out to Horrible Bosses, one of the greatest movies ever to be made here in the United States of America. Woo! All right, here we go. Toshi, baby. Toshi. We did draw a line here. What did we draw a line here for? I can't remember that. I don't remember when we drew this line. But, yeah, Toshi, baby. Toshi getting absolutely wrecked to the downside. Now, what I am looking at, if you do zoom on out here, let's look at it on the daily. So you are starting to get that, the bend in the RSI here. That's okay. Let's zoom on in on the 4 hour. 4 hour showing a little bit of bullish divergence. I don't want to look at that. 2 hour. 2 hour looking okay. So what I would be looking at here is for this cup and handle to play out. You have the cup. You have your cup, and you have your nice looking handle here. That looks horrible the way I drew that. Let's draw this a little better. So you have your handle forming here on your cup and handle. And you're getting pretty tight, not going to lie. This is a very, very nice looking handle. The cup is a little jagged. It is what it is, but these patterns do play out a vast majority of the time. You have your cup and handle here on Toshi. Where would I be looking to get in on Toshi? Well, you're looking at your 786, 886 area for some of these altcoins. I think this is a meme coin, isn't it? And look where we're coming to, baby. Look where we're coming to. That 786 double bottom here for Toshi. Looks very good for a squeeze to the upside to me out of this cup and handle. You know, I'm gonna take if I can trade this on Blowfin, I'm gonna take this too. This just looks too good to me. This is the king of setups, everybody. That 786, 886 retracement to the upside for Toshi. Yeah, it's getting his teeth kicked in. But you have a beautiful cup and handle here on the 2 hour time frame, on the 4 hour time frame. That looks so good to me. Off of the 786 retracement on a double bottom. You got a double bottom here on the 2 hour with a little bit of bullish divergence. What more could you ask for, man? That looks good to me. That looks good to me. Can you trade Toshi on Blowfin? I don't know. Toshi, baby. Yes, you can. We're going to dive on in. You guys know I don't... Oh, this is spot. You can get it on spot, can't you? Yeah, you can get it on spot. I'm not going to trade Toshi on futures. Toshi, baby. Nope, you can only trade on spot. I can't get into that. Can't get into that. You know, I may be looking at... I had some exchanges reach out to me. I might start reaching out and playing around with some different exchanges and seeing what ones are best for me. I haven't played around on a lot of exchanges. I've tried Weeks. I've used Weeks and I've used Blowfin, both of which I like. Weeks is definitely better for the fees. Blowfin's definitely good for tracking your analytics as far as like how you're performing as a trader. I really do like that about Blowfin. But I might go over to Bin next. I don't know. We'll see. I'll keep you guys up to date on that, on what exchange I'm using, but that looks really, really good to me here on Toshi. You can't ask for a better setup than that, man. You really can't. On the 4 hour, yes, it's getting its teeth kicked in, but when you're looking for a reversal trade, these are often very, very high risk to reward ratios that you could take here. If you wanted to take the risk to reward off the 786, you could set up 2 trades like this. Here we go, baby. Long on Toshi going in here, and look how tight you can make this stop all the way down below the wick right here on the 4 hour, which just happened a couple hours ago, going all the way up to the target of that cup and handle. How many trades of these do you need to win in order to, based off of a cup and handle macro retrace? This will be a 20-to-1 risk reward ratio trade that has gains written all over it, in my opinion. Definitely not financial advice, but whenever the things are falling like that, the squeeze potential is great. Look what just happened to Orca. Look what just happened to Orca. You have this cup handle back to the 618, 786. You tried to get that support at the 618, failed. Now you're at the 786. It looks juicy to me, baby. It looks juicy to me for a 20-to-1 risk reward ratio trade. I wish I had the ability to trade this on leverage, but man, this looks good to me. It looks good to me. And you have, this is a 67% move to the upside, and that'd be on spot. Ooh, baby. You get a 10x in there, you get 6x your margin. That is wild to me. It looks like a really good setup. Risk to reward wise, it looks good to me. You could risk 10. This would be a $10 for $200 trade, right? I'm sure anybody here would be. You spend $10 on a cup of coffee, and you're getting a good shot off of a mathematically likely area for an asset to bounce on a moonshot to the upside for a Toshi, baby. And you can do it on leverage. Oh, it looks good, baby. It looks good. That's what I'm seeing for Toshi, baby. That's what I'm seeing for Toshi. You're going to Mexi. Hey, I do want to go over to Mexi. I've never used Mexi. I'm in the United States, right? I'm in good old Texas. Yeehaw. Here, let me show you guys. Let me show you this. Look, this is my. Look, sometimes when I'm trading, baby. Oh yeah, we're here in Texas making these big gains off of these big swing trades out of these big cup and handle to the downside. We just approved the Texas State Reserve in the Senate, the Texas Bitcoin Reserve. I'm super excited to make it the biggest because my belt buckle's the biggest. Everything here in my house is the biggest. This is the biggest houses. We got the biggest food. We got the biggest cattle. We got the biggest everything. We got the biggest tax breaks. We got everything. So we're gonna make this the biggest crypto. We're gonna make this the biggest crypto reserve here in the whole United States and the whole world. We're Texas, the biggest here in Texas. We're making the biggest gains here in Texas. Whoo! Sometimes I do that. Shout out to all my Texans here in the chat. Shout out to all my Texans here in the chat for big here in Texas. We're all about what are we saying here? What do we say here in Texas? I just moved here, right? So I'm a new Texan, but the biggest gains are made here in Texas because it's everything in Texas is the biggest. Everything in Texas is the biggest. That's what they say. All right, diving on in. Texas, baby. Yeehaw, yeehaw. Like in Mexi, yeah. So the reason I haven't traded on Mexi is because I need a VPN. And I want to be sure that if something were to happen, my funds would be safe. And I just haven't convinced myself that they will be yet. And I'm sure they will. I got to do a little more research, man. That's where I'm at with Mexi. But this looks good to me for Toshi, baby. Toshi, boy, sit nasty, kid, dude. Don't be trolling me in there. Boy secretly loves memes. Yeah, I got a massive meme portfolio. It's how I've made my whole life savings on Toshi, on Chill Guy, on Whale Coin, on all sorts of meme. I am not a meme lover, baby. I had to say it. Not to say that they can't do well, right? I just did a video on Dogecoin. I think Dogecoin could do well here in the future. I do. I just know that risk to reward, and of all the risks in cryptocurrency, of all the risks that you have in crypto, the biggest risk to me is someone rugging you. And on meme coins, on the vast majority of them have somebody that owns over 50% of the supply. Not all of them, but on Dogecoins, there are 10 people that own 60% of the supply of that coin. That's an added risk that Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana doesn't have, right? Some of the other coins and the hotter projects in the space don't have a massive amount. Dude, you're trying to get me to go on my meme rant. I hear you, Nasty Kid. I hear you, baby. I'll hear you. Yeah, all you care about is the chart. Yeah, man, I totally get it. Yeah, we got the come and handle, man. Boom to the upside. PMG Corey. Hey, yeah, thanks for keeping me on track, man. I kind of get a little off there sometimes. But yeah, the 786 retrace, boom, baby, to the upside for Toshi. Looks very, very, very good. We went over Ethereum. Let's look at Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance, we were speculating on Bitcoin dominance taking a little bit of a top-a-loony from the massive move that it's had over the past 2 years. On the weekly, we've gone over this day in and day out over the channel, and I want to go over it every day just very briefly because this is the top, in my opinion, on the Boys Crypto channel. We are calling the top here for Bitcoin dominance. Why? Why, baby? We're going to hit this really, really quickly, and I'm sure each and every one of you can do this from memory with your eyes closed, spun around backwards. We have let's clear this out, and we can do this so quickly, and it's so effective on all time frames. The cup and handle, the pattern that we've been looking at here on the weekly, inverse cup and handle to the downside looks really good. What else backs it up? Well, we have a bearish from the swing high to the swing low, 618786 area being tested right now. Inverse cup and handle, bearish 618786, giant gaps down here in the VRVP. Looks like we could go to the downside, and I'm calling the lowest Bitcoin dominance has ever been here. I'm calling this on this channel, and people will say, wow, that's crazy, a 25% Bitcoin dominance. This drop was massive. I'm just going based off of the target of this inverse cup. I have to listen to the charts here, baby. I have to listen to the chart. Woo! I have to listen to the charts and what the charts are telling me, and the charts are telling me Bitcoin dominance is about to take a massive kaplop. Now, massive kaplop, right? You're coming up to the 618786, and of course, everything in trading, this could go completely wrong. We could blast through the 618786, retest these highs, and moon to the upside for Bitcoin dominance. I don't know, but I'm playing the probabilities. The 618786 bearish retrace. We have daily bearish divergence here on the charts as we zoom on in here. We do have daily bearish divergence. Daily bearish divergence, baby. We have a swing down on the RSI while we have a swing up in price action. That's daily bearish divergence. That's three things. Fourth thing here, let's clear some of this up so it's a little easier to see. We have the weekly bearish divergence. Once again, I'm going to call this every single day on the channel because there are four massive reversal signals flashing at one time. How many times do you see that in your lives? Honestly, never. I haven't seen four massive bearish signals overlapping in a row ever before besides Bitcoin dominance right now. And I'm not saying it's going to happen. Anything can happen. But to me, this should be, in my mind, the most highly confident play because there's so many indicators that are overlapping saying this is the top, Boys Crypto. This is the top. Weekly bearish divergence. Coming into the 618786 golden pocket retrace on the bear side with an inverse cup and handle on the weekly that has formed over the past 6 years. This is a massive inverse cup and handle looking to dump to the downside for altcoins, baby. That's what I like to see. This is why we started investing in altcoins here down in our box of remembrance. We drew this box of remembrance on stream, baby. We drew this box of remembrance on stream, a box that we will remember forever as the area that the Boys Crypto community was averaging into altcoins, calling the bottom on altcoins, baby. I think if Bitcoin sinks its heels in here, even if we get a dip, if we run up to that 786, that's why I give a little space here in the box of remembrance. Let's adjust this just a little bit, get that nice and clean right in the center there. But this box will be the area when we zoom on out here. And yes, I firmly believe an altcoin season is coming, and if we're gonna bounce, it's gonna be likely from here. We lose these lows and start testing these lows. That's it for alts. That's my call. We got to get back above the daily 200 SMA. But this box of remembrance will be remembered as some of the best prices, in my opinion, that you will ever get your altcoins this 2025 year. That's my call. That's my call. And when we're up here, and you know what? In the chat, we talked about this. If this box of remembrance fails, this is total 3. It represents all coins outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum. If this box fails and we go to the downside, this box of remembrance is going to be here for everybody here in this community to be like, remember when Boys Crypto was wrong in the chat and this was not the bottom? I'll take that. I will take that. But we're going to keep this box of remembrance here. And if we're up here at 3 trillion, we're going to be able to look back as a community and be like, remember when we were averaging into this box of remembrance? That's why it's called the box of remembrance, for us to remember. I am super excited to see how this plays out. It is the first time I've ever used text on a chart. Have any of you ever used text on a chart? Ever? I never have, and this is the first time. I was like, I can't believe anybody would ever use text on a chart. That's ridiculous. That doesn't make any sense to me. Why is there even a text box right here? That doesn't make any sense. You can type whatever, why would we do that? And here we go. The next day, I was like, I'm gonna type box of remembrance. I said, oh, we got the text box right there. We got the text box. But yes, total 3 out of the daily bullish divergence that we are seeing the same deal on Bitcoin here. Daily bullish divergence. Yes, we are sitting below the daily 200 MA. This honestly, you overlap the same chart as Bitcoin right now, going off that daily bullish divergence. Currently trading above the highest volume node here on the chart. As we look at the range that we've been forming over the past 2 weeks or so, ever since the 10th of March, what is it today? The 21st, the 11 days. Yeah, so ever since that massive dump, this was where we were averaging in the altcoins, and we're looking for that reversal to the upside out of this daily bullish divergence, saying we're going to break this high before we break this low, and this box of remembrance will be remembered forever as the time that we averaged into altcoins, baby. The time we averaged into altcoins and made these juicy gains on juicy setups. We come up that $3 trillion market cap. That's a 3 to 4x on your average altcoin. There are going to be some that underperform. There are going to be some that overperform, but this is going to be the area we were getting in on these juicy gains, baby. That's my call on the Boys Crypto channel. Again, anything can happen, and use good risk management, but that's where I personally was adding to my spot bags, baby, that down here, including Bitcoin, right? Okay, diving on in reviews. Hey, I'm going to sell something and buy all. I'll say, man, risk management. A peek at Pi, please, from Send It to the Moon. Hey, I appreciate you jumping on into the chat. Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's dive on in. Let's dive on into Pi. The box of remembrance. Yeah, let's do it, baby. Let's do it. 100 damage and 20 crit. Hey, shout out to all the gamers out there. I love you guys. Yeah, let's dive on into Pi Network. I did do a video on Pi. You know what I didn't notice about on Pi, though? I didn't realize that it was held massively by a single entity / individual. So, yeah, take this with a grain of salt, right? But here we are on the daily. Coming down, we did try to get that support out of the 786. We got the 886 retrace, and there's not a lot of data here on the chart. Let's zoom on out to the 4 hour. You did get that bounce off the 886 here, and now on the smaller time frames, I'll be looking at some kind of cup and handle. Did you get that on the smaller time frames? It looks like you did. Back to the 618. It's crazy how when you're using these fibs so much, you could tell like whenever an asset comes back to this area, like the golden pocket, the 618, 786 retrace. It's just muscle memory after a time. But you got that cup and handle looking to move to the upside for Pi Network. That looks okay to me. I mean, there are better coins in the game, I think, and there is inflation when it comes to this coin based on people being able to just freely mine from their phones. I do think after getting beaten down this bad, it does set up good short squeeze potential. I do agree. This was once the number 11 ranked cryptocurrency by market cap. That is a massive move for Pi, but I'd be looking at the smaller time frames to look for that inverse cup and handle. If you are speculating on the upside, I will say this: you break that 886, which is roughly down here at the wick, you're looking at what's called price discovery to the downside, baby, and that's not what you want to see for Pi. That comes down all the way down here to 60 cents, and you can even go lower than that. So that's what I'm looking at for Pi, baby. Not a lot of data here on the chart ever since it got released on futures, but we do look at the futures contracts charts on here because we're leverage traders, baby, and you know we do invest in spot, of course, right? That's the longer term portfolios, but as far as like a leverage position, these are the prices that you're going to be seeing on exchanges whenever you're trading on leverage. This would be the cup and handle idea that I would be looking at for Pi. Again, not financial advice. You're looking at that 618 retrace. You could put a stop below this lower, below the 786 and speculate on a reversal to the upside, but you got to start playing 200 MA dominoes, and you got to do it fast. Let's zoom on in here. How do we play 200 MA dominoes? Well, whenever the 200 MA is so powerful. Once you get above the 200 MA, you're likely to come up and test another 200 MA, like on the 3 minute, right? So you get above the 1 minute 200 SMA, you come up and you almost tested it right there, the 3 minute 200 SMA. You get rejected, you'll come back to the 1 minute 200 SMA and you'll fall below it. You get above the 1, you go to the 3. You get above the 3, you go to the 5. You get above the 5, you go to the 7. You get above the 7, you go to the 15. You get above the 15, you go to the 30. You get above the 30, you go to the 1 hour, the 2 hour, the 3 hour, the 4 hour, the daily, and boom, baby, to the upside. And the same thing to the downside. You know, and these will overlap as price does consolidate because it's based off the candle body closures on each individual time frame. And if you have a massive wick or a closure at a time period that don't overlap with each other, like the 7 and the 5, you can have a candle body closure that does skew the data here a little bit for the 200 MA based off the time frame. So they do overlap. That's what I'd be looking at for Pi. Not the hottest coin right now, in my opinion, but you can speculate on this cup and handle to the upside. Just a trade idea, not financial advice, obviously, and I'm not currently in a trade on this, but the 618, 786 golden pocket retracement does look good for Pi here, in my opinion. You got to get above that 5 minute 200 SMA, and look at that, baby, that giant gap. Let's zoom on out here and see if we got that gap. Even here, cup and handle, baby, on the 5. Let's see. You have a cup and handle on the 5 right here, and you have a cup and handle on the macro. Yeah, look at that. Whoop! That just looks absolutely terrible. I can't look at that. That gives my brain autism. All right, here we go. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Gotta start fresh. Zone on in here. This looks pretty cup and handily to me too as well. Let's see what we got on this fib retracement. Swing low to swing high. What do you know? Come back down to this golden pocket area. You got another cup and handle at the 618, 786 area. That looks good to me, man. That looks good to me. I think you can get a little bit of a squeeze to the upside. If you zoom on out here on the 1 hour, you can see where the high volume nodes are sitting. Let's let this VRVP update. VRVP, what is that? Well, the VRVP just represents the visible range based off of the candles that you are viewing on your chart, the volume that was traded once the price was in that area. So you're sitting in no man's land, an area of low liquidity. You can definitely get that squeeze back up to that $1.15 range. That represents a pretty substantial 15% move for Pi to the upside. That's what I'd be looking for here in the near term. And if you get above these highs, flip that high volume node to support, you could potentially start gapping back up for Pi. So I'd be looking for a reversal here on Pi. It is a little bit more higher risk than I would like, but that's what I'd be looking up for here over the weekend. Again, weekend, very, very risky trading. Why? Because you don't have any of the big companies, institutions that are backing you up, creating massive amounts of volume, whether the price is going up or down. Plus, you create CME gaps in the opposite direction of wherever we go on the weekend. So if we pump this weekend, we're going to leave a massive CME gap below that have only not been filled 2 times or 3 times in Bitcoin's history. So likely that we'll fill those, regardless of what price action we'll do here this weekend, the following week. And it was crazy. We did just have a CME gap the other day, and it did not get filled the following week. So that's what I'm looking at for Pi, baby. That's what I'm looking at for Pi. Thank you. Send it to me. I appreciate you jumping on in. Hey, yeah, joining in with PMG. I'm super excited to stream with him on Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm super excited to dive on into that. We're creating a new channel, Crypto Profit Brothers. I'm super excited to dive on in and start streaming with him, sharing ideas, and we're going to dive on into it, and we're going to take on crypto banter, baby. All that FUD, all that hype that those guys do, losing people a lot of money. It's absolutely frustrating, and we're going to put a stop to that here, and we're going to bring real reality to the crypto space, vice just hopium. So I'm super excited to do that with him. I'm very, very, very excited. All right, diving on into the chat. Also fly April 2nd, says Sin Nasty Kid. Hey, you know what? Here's what we'll do. We'll do this. Sin Nasty Kid, you got the call, baby. You got the call. Let's pull up Bitcoin perpetuals on Binance. Because we look at this chart every single day. I'll use the text box again. I love you, man. I appreciate you. Sin Nasty Kid calls alts fly. Let's see. April 2nd. That's Sin Nasty Kid's call, baby. Let's see. What's today's date? Baby? 3/21. That's Sin Nasty Kid's call, baby. We'll see, Sin Nasty Kid. I believe in you, man. We're going to put this down here. We'll put this down here, and we'll never forget it. Dude. We'll never forget it. I won't forget it. I promise you. We'll put a little circle there. We'll put a little circle and lock that in. Sin Nasty Kid, baby. We're not going lower than we are here on the 4 hour for Bitcoin. That should be totally fine. Oh my gosh, getting keyboard dyslexia right now. Okay, here we go. We're going to put that on the charts for you, everybody. Sin Nasty Kid calls the bottom for alts April 2nd when they will fly, everybody. April 2nd. Box of Remembrance, baby. Yes. Super excited to stream with Josh. Bear Chain for reviews, absolutely. Long's a cash cow. Long short. This is PMG Corey. Hey, I appreciate you jumping on in the chat. Everybody in the chat, shout out to you guys. I greatly appreciate it. Hey, on Monday, we also have Merch Monday, everybody. Despite streaming with Josh, we're going to be still streaming every single day on this channel, 9:30 p.m. Central Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, baby. We're going to keep this channel alive, and we're going to be growing. This is going to be my primary focus, streaming with Josh. I'm super excited, but this is still my primary channel, everybody, so we're going to be diving on in. What is Sunday? Oh, yeah, April. Thank you. Shout out to that. That's what we're going to be streaming with Josh on PMG Project Moongoal. I'm super excited for that collaboration. Barachain for reviews. Let's dive on into that Barachain, baby. I saw this thing making some massive gains here. It was one of the biggest boobles on crypto bubbles on the 4 hour, getting close to that 4 hour 200 SMA. Looking pretty double bottomy to me here. Yeah, you got a good area of support right here. Let's see. Yeah, you got some support areas you're breaking above, man. You ranged here, broke out, retested the range, fell back in the range, ranged a little bit, got back above. You do have a local resistance at this level. All right. Barachain on the 4 hour. Let's clear this up. That was just from my knowledge and my perspective here. Here we go. Barachain on the 4 hour. You did get this nice little cup and handy here. Little cup and handy. Shout out to Sam Price, man, the cup and handle and master friend, teaching us about the cup and handle. I love their knowledge. Super awesome. Shout out to the crypto lifer, baby. All right, we got the cup, the handle down in the 618786 retracement before mooning to the upside out of this cup and handle. This cup and handle says you are likely to go up here to about that 738 level. Looks very, very good to me. You do have some areas of resistance in the way. You are above the highest volume node. Let's look at our VRVP here, zoomed on out. This is really interesting to me. You are look to seem to be finding some footing here for bear chain. You're gapping up in the VRVP. I think this is very likely. This breakout of the cup and handle coming up here to about that 744 region. I like that. I really like that. Out of the 618786 retracement for bear chain, getting above that 4-hour 200 SMA. Let's see how that candle closes in about 21 minutes, right? That's what I'd be looking at for bear chain. You're playing 200 MA dominoes. You got above the 1. You got above the 1, baby. Hey, this is the rinse and repeat. You got above the 5. You get above the 5, you go to the 15, the 7, you go to the 15, you go to the 30, you go to the 1 hour, you test the 1 hour, you get above the 1 hour, you're coming to test the 2 hour. You get above the 2 hour, you come to the 3 hour, you test in the 3 hour. You got to the 3 hour, you tested the 3 hour, got rejected, and since yet got back above, looking to close in 2 hours and 21 minutes, also in line with the 4 hour. If you get above the 4 hour here, a full candle body, you're looking really, really good for bear chain to continue that meteoric rise to the upside. You also have this W pattern here forming. W, baby, W. Those do break to the upside, and you can take that measured move. Almost spilled my monster all over my keyboard. That would have been a disaster. All the way to the upside. That is supported with a gap in the VRVP here. Let's see what this gap looks like here in the VRVP. Let's let that update, baby. You got this gap in the VRVP. That looks like one of the hottest setups over the weekend in this area of low liquidity, baby. This area of low liquidity. You got this high volume node up here. That would be your first area of resistance that you're likely to get to. You also have, man, this does look good. Look at this. You have that double bottom here. You have your shoulder, your head, your right shoulder, shoulder, head. You got your right shoulder here for bear chain, looking very, very good here. You got a pretty clear resistance. You got a pretty clear, a little bit of a sloping resistance line here that you're coming up to test. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. That would give you an even further extrapolated target if you wanted to take it all the way to the head, baby, from the wick all the way up. For bear chain, looking to move here on bear chain. So would I chase right now after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 4-hour candles? No, I would not. I would look for a break above here, and I would wait. I would have to wait for a retest. I would have to wait for a retest here on bear chain of this 4-hour 200 SMA / the resistance line that's supported here. It's supported by these high volume nodes. This would be an area that I would be very interested in longing on, only on a retest, right? Because we've had 8 candle body closures in a row on the 4-hour. How often do you see that? Very, very rarely. You can put a stop below this high volume node. You lose a high volume node, you're going to fall down the hill anyway. Highly likely. So I'd be looking at this for bear chain, a very, very nice 8-to-1 risk reward ratio for bear chain, but only upon a retest here. Again, we're not guaranteed to close above the 4-hour. I'd wait for a close above the 4-hour. You get above here, you start to pump, get a little bit of a retrace. That will be a support resistance flip here on bear chain. This looks like one of the hotter setups in the game, baby. I'm gonna make this this looks like the #1 setup of the night. I'm not gonna lie. The shoulder, head, right shoulder. You have the cup and handle 618786 retest, getting above the high volume node. You're breaking 200 MAs. You're on the 3-hour, 4-hour 200 SMA, looking to break to the upside. Bear chain looking to do massive damage here to the upside. Now, where would I take caution? Where would I take caution? We have to acknowledge that there's going to be areas where people start opening shorts. Where is that likely to be? Yes. Shake your head, yes. That's what I used to do JRDC, and my sergeant major would say, shake your head, yes. Shake your head, yes. Shake your head, yes, boys, crypto. Shake your head, yes. Whatever he would want you to agree with something. Isn't that weird? Wow, look at that. In confluence with a bearish 618786 retracement up here. That looks juicy to me, baby. That looks juicy to me. Bear chain. Calling the reversal for bear chain here. Bear chain, baby. I'm going to take a screenshot of this right now, and I'm going to put this up here. This will be an area of interest to me. Let's take pride. I'm opening. I have to take it. I can't tell you guys. Oh, this is my trade idea. I'm not, I could make trade ideas, but I'm not going to see something this juicy without opening up a long. Baby. I have to. Ethereum trade in the green. Bear chain, baby. Bear chain looking good. No, I have to wait for the retrace. Do I have to wait for the retrace? What do you guys think in the chat? Do I have to wait for the retrace? Do I have to be a good trader right here? I really want to. I really want to. A little bit of bear div on the 1 hour. You know what? Stay tuned on my X tonight. I may open up this long. This is what I'm looking at, but I have to. You had 8 candle body closures. I'm being disciplined right now. I'm being disciplined. I have to be disciplined here. Bear train, the potential long of the night. Stay tuned with me on X. I'll let you guys know if I open this. But this looks good on a juicy 8-to-1 risk-reward ratio. That has my name written all over it, baby. You guys know I love those 8-to-1 juicy trades. Ugh. Let's get the monster. What do you think, baby? The monster says do it, baby. The monster says do it. I could taste it in my mouth. This looks good to me. Stay up to date with me on X. I'll let you guys know if I open up this trade. Bear chain looking hot. Looking like one of the hotter trades of the night. You can get that squeeze. Hey, fast dumps. Look at this. Fast dumps lead to fast pumps. Just saying. And then you're looking at the big W pattern. Or yeah, you're looking at you can go into price discovery pretty quick for bear chain based off the technicals here. Now I'm just reading the charts. You know what I know about bear chain? You know what I know about? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But what I can tell you is that this setup is looking hot and juicy. It's looking scrumptious to the upside. This is the kind of trade that'll allow you to make juicy profits, everybody. And what do you do with those juicy profits? Yes, you get on Monet, and then you go and buy your lady some gold jewelry because she loves gold so much. And you get her gold jewelry and you give her, money to spend on a lot of fun things like the things that have showed up by Amazon to my house today. A lot of water filters for our thing. Shout out to everybody who uses water filters in their houses. Maybe look, listen. You get you have to have a way to fund these Amazon operations. You do, everybody. Shout out to all you guys who have the ladies who love the Amazon shop, baby. These are the trades that'll pay for that stuff, baby. I'm looking for it. This looks very, very hot for bear chain to the upside. I'm seeing a lot of potential here. I think this could get a massive short squeeze up. You're above a high volume. You're not above that high volume node yet. It's gonna adjust here because of the visible range, right? Visible range. You're not above that high volume node. I'd like to get above that high volume node and get this 4-hour closure. I'm gonna look at that in about 15 minutes. We're gonna come back to bear chain. I'm gonna keep that up. Thank you. Who put that in the chat? Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to you. Who put in bear chain, baby? Who put in bear chain? Oh my gosh, the chat is lighting up. Shout out to you guys. Thank you for jumping on into the chat on your Friday night, baby. Everybody else is drinking, doing the whip nay out on the club dance floor. You guys should see me do that. Maybe I'll do the whip nay song for you guys sometimes. For those of you guys who don't know what that is, that's all I know that the kids do nowadays. But the whip nay, I can hit it pretty hard. I'm telling you guys, like we hit the charts. Okay, diving on in. Shout out to whoever put that in there. Who put that in it? Who put bear chain in the chat? Who brought up bear chain? Shout out to you. 1 hour RSI. Let's take a look at that. Hey, PMG Corey, I appreciate you diving on in there, man. Why? Because what if I miss something? What am I looking at? Oh, pi. 1 hour RSI. Let's dive on into it. Yes, I agree with you. We do have, this is looking bear divvy here on the RSI. Yeah, specifically right here. We do have that. Coming down here, you're making a swing down on the RSI, and it's slight, right? It's slight, but you do have a swing down on the RSI on the 1 hour. Well, you have a swing up in price action, do we not? Yes, that is true. We do have bearish divergence here on the 1 hour time frame. I'm gonna wait for this 4 hour candle body closure, and we're gonna see if this can hold up here. It's looking very, very promising. That's kind of why, PMG Corey, I wanna sit on the sidelines and wait for a push to the upside. If the bearish div to get defined, find bearish div on the higher time frames like the 2 hour, 3 hour, 4 hour. Let that retest while the RSI resets. The stochastics are severely pinned right now. Look at that at 100. You can see in the bottom line. I can't move my mouse over here, but look right here, everybody. Look right here. You have stochastics pinned. How do you know when stochastics are pinned? When it's their 100 and 100, they're pinned to the top side. They could not be more overbought on the stochastic RSI, looking very good. And when they get pinned, they can stay here. That does tell me that we could get a push to the upside here. Again, we did have that wick here. If we had that wick would have stopped you out if you were in this trade. That's why I'm gonna wait for. I'm gonna keep this one on the sidelines right now, but I'm seeing hot potential right here. Keep up to date with me on BoysCrypto102 on X. I will let you guys know every single one of my trades, entries, exits, all for free. That's where I do this stuff. That's where we doubled this account. We almost doubled this account, baby. We just got into an Ethereum trade here on the live. We doubled this account starting at $5,000. And we're currently sitting at about $9,500 in about 40 days. Shout out to anyone who's been with it. That's awesome money, everybody. Shout out to you guys. Anybody who's followed this. I'm just so happy to be here with you guys. Okay, diving on in. I'm going to keep that on the, I'm going to keep that on the radar. So the 1 hour RSI, yeah, thank you, PMG Corey. I appreciate you, right. Let's see. Those drops in the history will retrace at least, yeah, very true. Let's see. Diving on in. George Foreman died. I didn't know that. That's sad, man. I like those grills. I like the grills now. So that's what I'm looking at here going on into the night, everybody. Thank you. Hey, we're going to cut this a little early, everybody. Get to your families. Enjoy your rest. Enjoy the weekend, everyone. We're going to be back here tomorrow night at 9:30 p.m. Central Time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We went over altcoins. We went over Bitcoin. We went over live trades. I'm going to be tracking Barachain like a hawk tonight. Keep that on your radar, and I'll let you guys know when I do decide to open that trade. I appreciate each and every single one of you for spending your Friday night here with me. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Boys Crypto. Merch Monday. Start on in for Monday. Monday, we're giving away some free merch for everybody. Some Boys Crypto t-shirts, some koozies. It's going to be a good time. Drop on in. We'll do some random giveaways. It's going to be a good time. I will see you guys tomorrow for the stream. Until then, Boys Crypto is out, baby. We are out. Much love, everybody. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy your night.